Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is Niles Peel, aka Black Jesus 648. My first YouTube video ever. Thank you. Bringing you a review of the Zune HD 32 gigabyte, and I'm also going to compare it to a iPod Touch 64 gig that I have. Let's see. First thing I can say about the Zune, its most standout feature is probably the pictures and bio it has of every artist. Let me show that to you right now. I'll just pick System of a Down. Why not? I mean, can't go wrong with System of a Down, right? Pictures right here, and then a bio of the artist, as you can see, and also related artists. If you like System of a Down, you may like them too. Never know. Can't hurt to try. Uh, let's see. First thing I have here, screen. Let's talk about the screen. The screen is a multi-touch interface OLED touch screen, where the iPod touchscreen is a LCD multi-touch interface touchscreen. OLED, what that is instead of being like the iPod Touch touchscreen where there are LCD pixels and they are lit up by a backlight, the OLED, every pixel is lit up separately. What that does is it brings you more popping colors. It increases battery life greatly when playing video, 2.5 hours, which is a lot when watching a movie. That's like a whole nother movie. And a lot of people from CNET and stuff like that say it looks a lot better. Me personally, even though I love my Zune, I can tell the difference with really colorful pictures, but only pictures like this right here. Only pictures like, standard pictures that they load onto the Zune. Like a data, like that's one of the album covers here. Data, remember, like popping colors like that, you can only notice, but pictures with people, you won't really notice it much. And let me just go ahead and say, by the way, I am going to try to do a completely unbiased review of these two items, even though I know that's impossible. And I will admit that even though I love my Zune to death and I like it more, I think the iPod Touch would be a better device for most. So I'm not trying to. This isn't my video of saying, oh, how much the iPod Touch sucks, because it's obvious it's a good device. I'm just showing you an alternative. And let me go ahead and mute this. One thing I did notice about the Zune seems to be more for people who are completely interested in listening to music like me. I have had this since last Christmas, and I've already listened to 80,000 songs in it, and that's full songs. You can't skip, that doesn't count. So obviously I listen to a bunch of music. I listen to music on my phone as well. This is the Samsung Envision, great phone. I will be doing a review on this next. And this was my first MP3 player back when I was in like 5th grade. A Sansa SanDisk, only 2 gigs. Back when 2 gigs was a lot back then. Now we have 64 gigs in an iPod, which is awesome. But yeah, screen. I think the Zune and the iPod Touch are tied in that, because even though the Zunes does look better and it has a bit better battery life, it's not as large. It's a 3.3 where the iPod Touch is a 3.5. So iPod Touch is a little bit easy to use just because it's bigger. Sound, I think the Zune does shine a little bit more, but I mean, you can only really notice, like, if you put it on the equalizer. Hip Hop iPod Touch does have a lot more equalizers, by the way. I will go ahead and say that. But if you put it on the equalizer Hip Hop, it does have a little bit more bass and a little bit crisper highs. I sat down and did a comparison on them, 10 different songs, 10 loaded from iTunes, 10 loaded from that I bought from Zune, and the Zune does shine a little bit better, but only enough that you can only notice if you're like in a library lobby. You can only tell the difference. And if you have high quality headphones like the Skull Candy Titans or the FMJs, which will run you around $60, I think today. I got mine for $120 because I had them special ordered. Apps. No, I'm not even going to spend much time on this. iPod wins there. It has over 50,000 apps, where the Zune has maybe 20, and its apps aren't up to date. The one app I do really like is Project Gotham Racing, but you can find a racing game like that, if not better, on the iPod Touch. So iPod definitely stands out there. Browser. They both do have browsers, but of course everyone knows what made the iPod. One of the things that made the iPod Touch famous was the browser. It looked exactly like you'd see it on a regular computer, so browser does win there. I love the browser on my iPod. I'm not gonna lie about that. Who doesn't love the browser on the iPod? Plus it has YouTube, and so many other apps that you can just use the internet for. The Zune does have a radio, and one cool thing about it is I've never used it. Well, no, I think I've used it twice, but I've never used it. But some people out there may use it more than me. Like if there's a HD radio station, that you can find the song. You can find the song and bookmark it. So when you plug it up to the Zune, it'll download it from the marketplace free because it has a $14.99 a month, and you get as much music as you want. Plus, you get to keep 10 songs. So you can pretty much see it this way. You pay $1.50 for 10 songs, and then you get to do whatever. But you do have to keep paying, which a lot of people don't get. So radio, the Zune wins there just because, iPod Touch doesn't have a radio. You can get Wi-Fi radio, but if you don't have a Wi-Fi signal nearby, then it won't work. But I mean, radio is not important to most people. It's not important to me. Build quality. These two came pretty close. As you can see, the Zune is well built. I mean, it's solid. It's kind of heavy for its weight. It's not as heavy as the iPod Touch, but it's heavy for its weight. It definitely feels solid, like you could throw it and it won't fall apart. It has screws in the back. It has screws on each corner. They want it to be different from iPod. They didn't want to be curved, because once the iPod Touch came out, everybody was doing curves. That was the thing. But I'm going to have to give build quality to iPod once again, just because, it feels so good in the hand. It's in the back. It's just, even though the back does get scratched up, if you have a case, then that's you don't even have to worry about that. So quality goes to iPod Touch only by a slim amount, though. Movies, podcasts, pictures. I think videos look better on the iPod Touch just because the screen's larger and they seem to fit better. And the videos themselves are better quality, even though the Zune has a higher resolution. Podcasts, both of them are on par. There's no doubt. Pictures, I'm gonna say they look the same just because the Zune has a bit better quality, a bit better higher resolution, and OLED touchscreen. But the iPod touchscreen is larger, and then the touch interface. I know for a fact they both use the same engine when it comes to touch interface, and they both have the same amount of touch receptors on the screen. They're both heat receptors, everything like that. But I'm gonna give that to the iPod Touch because once again its screen is larger, so it's a little bit easier to use. Even though I personally like this better, the iPod Touch does shine in a lot of areas. The iPod Touch is more of a device where if you looking to do multiple things like play games, not only music but play games, video, search the web, iPod Touch is better for most people. But I'm saying for me, just because I strictly love music, I'm going to say that Zune is better. But those of you watching this, if you don't already have an iPod Touch, that will probably be better for you. The buttons are in similar places. Instead of having the volume, it has a music button right here where when you touch it, it brings up play, pause, go to next track, volume up, down, and then you can exit. Then you can slide that up and get to everything. Sleep button's up here, same with the power button, just like iPod Touch, and the home button's down here, except for it's a little bar you have to click there. See, that's a picture of a Ducati, by the way. Love Ducatis, who doesn't? And so yeah, they're built very similarly. The Zune was obviously a device meant to compete with the iPod, and I think it beats the iPod when it comes to music and pictures, but when it comes to everything else, I think they still have a lot of work to do on that, which hopefully they will do. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and say that even though I like the Zune better, I'm going to go ahead and say that the iPod Touch is better because there's just, what can't you do on it, really? iPod Touch is so popular, they came out with a bigger iPod Touch called the iPad. That's pretty much what the iPad is. My sister had one, if you didn't know that. It's a big iPod Touch. And, yeah, so that is my review of the Zune HD. Great device, awesome for music. If you love knowing a lot about your artist like I do, and if you like, setting the pictures as your background, because I love music, then it's awesome. But if you're just like, oh, I want to listen to some tunes and play some games, and most people like that. I guess I'll admit I'm weird for just wanting to listen to music. But if you want to I want to listen to music, play some games, search the web, all that stuff, then iPod Touch is better for you. But yes, that is my first YouTube video review. I will be coming back with the Samsung Envision and the Turtle Beach X1s. Thank you.